Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRN AM for Friday, May 20th, 2022. And our top story today, can we trust the ed tech at our local schools? Well, joining me now to discuss this and a lot more, Mary Omeg is the co-founder of Boom Learning. Mary, great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
And what I like about having you on is you bring multiple dimensions, multiple skill sets to learning. But I want to start off with this is a softball question, but I think a good place to start, which is learning, online learning. What did we learn from, during, through the pandemic as it relates to children's education?
Well, we learned a lot of things. We learned kids like devices, but we kind of knew that already.
Yeah.
But we also learned that their stamina for being online all day long and then continuing to do homework after that in an electronic way has hard limits. Some children really thrived online and really connected in the online environment, and others checked out. They were fatigued by being on video, and there was a lot of early in the pandemic, but even through the pandemic, there was a lot of talking to students on video. And I don't know if you're like me, but when I have to do online learning, I'm a lawyer, so I have to do continuing education credits. And I've got to do about 14 of those a year. On about the fifth hour of an online presentation, I'm yawning and thinking I need another coffee. And the students were the same. We watched it in our home. Our teenagers, by their fifth class, they were exhausted. So online learning and technology learning needs to be engaging, and it needs to empower the students. And in a lot of cases, that wasn't happening. Students were being asked to be receptive vehicles that information was being poured in instead of engaging. The students that thrived had teachers who were engaging them. They were using products like ours, like Boom Learning, that require them to be interactively involved with the content. They were assigning them projects in things like Rhino at the secondary level, which is building 3D models, or a variety of other things like Flipgrid was very popular at elementary, creating little videos, giving them chances to chat with each other and getting the kids participating in the experience. So we learned what we already kind of knew about education. The kids have to be engaged, and you need a model that engages them.
So suffice to say, there's room for improvement.
Yeah.
These are my words, not yours, so I'll let you explain. But there's definitely, look, there are lessons we can learn from everything. I'm not perfect, you're not perfect. But I guess the bottom line is that there are lessons to be applied, learned and applied to make education better. So whether it's done through online or a hybrid model where you're online sometimes and in the classroom, there are things that all of our school districts around the United States and maybe school districts abroad can learn about.
Absolutely. You know, one of our great learnings, though, is we learned that schools weren't quite ready for technical innovation. And one of the great things to come out of the pandemic was schools really stepped up their technology. They improved their broadband. They improved student access to broadband. They got hotspots and wireless to kids at home. They got devices for all the kids. So schools now have the technological framework to take advantage of new technology. That's a great win from the pandemic, is we accelerated schools' adoption of technologies they need to really train students for what our current workforce needs.
Mary, one of the questions I wanted to ask you about is privacy. We heard early on during the pandemic, there were Zoom bombing. This is like photo bombing, but people showing up magically in Zooms in classrooms that they didn't belong. And I'm picking on Zoom because it's not just Zoom.
Yeah, it wasn't just Zoom, but it was definitely a problem. What we had was a lot of technologies that had not been designed for the K-12 classroom, that weren't familiar with the behaviors of K-12 students, and weren't familiar with the privacy laws surrounding K-12. their products were being adapted very quickly to that environment. So Zoom was one of those. Google Meets was one of those. Quizlet, which really had been college focused. A variety of those were being picked up. The problem was they didn't take in mind authentication. They didn't have secure rooms. It was easy to share rooms. It was easy to get in where you didn't belong and behave in inappropriate ways. We know from our experience with kids that if you give them an opportunity to be inappropriate, they will. We give teachers some flexibility about how to set up their classrooms. And we warn them very clearly, you should use our tool that lets you hand out individualized logins with a little QR code for the little kids. They can just scan with their device, so they don't have to type anything in. But we do know there's some of our users who really need like a super simple setup, and some of them do it and they do the worst thing possible. They give all the students the same password. And when that happens, they can log into each other's accounts, and then they find out who's the joker in the class, because they'll log into someone else's class and rename that nickname to something inappropriate. So, there's a balance as a tech provider between giving schools and teachers flexibility to meet very highly variable student needs, because if you have a profoundly disabled student, you've got to have a simple way for them to get in. But you don't want to use that with the kids who know what they're doing and are better than you at technology, because they're going to get in there and do something inappropriate with this.
And by the way, I'm sorry, go ahead. Finish your thought. I apologize.
We've seen even worse things, though. We've seen, we're a company that started with privacy by design. Like everything we build, we stop and go, what's the privacy implication? How do we protect the student? We believe strongly students have a right to be forgotten, forget what they made mistakes in their childhood as they move into adulthood. But we've seen some big companies, Illuminate is an example, who did not encrypt their data. They got a ransomware attack. And they got a whole bunch of data. New York City schools was shut down for a few weeks because they didn't do the basic security principles they should. And they had been promising New York schools that they had done this. This is required under New York law. So companies need to mature, and they really need to understand that students are a popular target for hackers because they're a great place for identity theft. Traditionally, identity thefts looked for people who were deceased, children, to go after and assume their identity. Now they're just looking for children and assuming their identity. So you need to, make sure your school is making sure its vendors actually take seriously their security promises.
Well, it's certainly a balancing act. Mary, I need to take a very quick break. When we come back, we'll talk more about building an online curriculum and a lot more. You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms, especially for the smaller businesses? I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now for this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers. This free book reveals little-known secrets about annuity strategies that will help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. Call right now for your free book, and as a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today.
Call 800-504-8194.
Welcome back. We're talking this morning to Mary Omig. She's co-founder of Boom Learning. Mary, thanks so much for staying with us this morning.
Oh, it's great to be back.
It is great. It's great. I haven't lost a guest yet. I am so excited about that. No one's Zoom bombed us, so that's a positive. We do have the right security apparently on the network. Okay, Mary, let's talk about building the right curricula, how to build curricula, how to have the right platform to build the right curricula. I hope I'm using that Latin word correctly. Anyway, you'll tell me if I'm right or wrong. But how do we go about building that curriculum for children?
Well, anytime you're building a curriculum for children, and teachers do this all the time, teachers are actually the experts at this. You know, schools buy a lot of packaged curriculum from textbooks makers, but teachers are building their curriculum all the time to meet their local standards, their school standards. So teachers sit down and they look at, what do I need to teach in this time frame to this group of students? What do they need to do to demonstrate learning at the end of it? What we do at Boom Learning is we provide them with a platform for them to take those lessons, those assessments, those practice tasks to build the skill and knowledge and automate it and automate the grading of it. So we give these teachers back all this time. So it's automatically graded. The student knows right away if they're on track or if they're way off base. The teacher we have it set up so teachers can choose live mode and they can watch the student performance live when they're in the classroom and know if I need to step aside and reteach something that I thought they were getting, but clearly they're not. So it's a great instant feedback for the teacher on how well their teaching was received. And it also is incredibly engaging. Students have multitude of ways of interacting with it. They can do drag and drop, they can do short answer, they can do multiple choice. We're introducing right now a number of accessibility elements to help teachers because we have students in schools for the blind. We have students in schools for the deaf who use our product. We have profoundly disabled students who use our product. We're also used widely in primary for the little kids who are still just kind of going tap, 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 all the way through high schoolers who are using us to refine their French, and they're listening to a native speaker and they're responding to what they're hearing and indicating whether they understood what they heard.
Mary, there's been a rash of resignations among teachers. I feel like, frontline workers, parents, teachers really bore the main brunt of this pandemic, more so than just the health aspects of it, the financial aspects of it. Do you think that this platform, a platform like this, so I'm really asking you to talk to all those purchasing managers out there at the school district level, is this going to stem the tide back from teachers saying, oh, oy vey, this is too much. I can't do this. I can't adopt what I was doing before in the classroom in front of 20, 30 children, whatever grade. But will this help? I'm sorry.
Yeah, our product can certainly help, and it helps in a few different ways. One way it helps is you get your curriculum into a platform that you can update very easily, very quickly on the fly. You can make, if you're working with young kids who are learning to read and you have a kid who will only interact with content that is around a football theme, you can make a copy of what you did for the whole class and throw a series of football images on it. And now you can reach that kid. So it allows you to quickly personalize when you need to reach a child. You can simplify, you can make it harder. And it's very quick to copy and repurpose and still get all that self-grading benefit and keep on track. The other area where we're super helpful is working with substitutes. If you assign our materials to a substitute, you come back in and the report's all there for you. You don't need the substitute to report to you how the students did. You see it in the results of what they did while you were away.
Yeah, I'm just thinking back. You made me think about times when the substitute teacher would come into the classroom when I was going to school many, many, many years ago. And that was like a day off, right? But now,
Right.
but that was like a day off. Like, oh, Mrs. Buxton's no longer, she's out sick. So we got Mrs. Jane Doe. We can take the day off. But now with this software, you don't have to. Last question.
And when a kid gets me as a sub in the room, they don't get the day off.
Well, I was just joking. I'm not talking about, I'm just thinking about what the mindset is.
I totally remember that. That's how my experience in high school was. Oh, sub, day off.
We don't have to. Oh yeah, we weren't working on our French words. We were working on reading whatever, this and that. So you could totally mislead them. But that's not.
Yeah, between the pandemic and between just the exhaustion of dealing with the pandemic, schools really are struggling to get staff and substitute staff. Our teachers in our local district, I'm an emergency certified substitute because teachers can't get to a medical appointment because there's not enough subs. So that's really important. There's one other thing we can do for teachers though. And those teachers who really love making curriculum, really great at it, whose colleagues are always like, can I have a copy of that? Can I have a copy of that? They actually can sell their curriculum through our system and they can share it with all of their school at no charge if they prefer. So we have a couple ways for them. If their school has an account with us, they can distribute what they make to everyone at their school, no charge. Easy peasy. If they're making it on their own time and they want to sell it, we have a marketplace for them to sell to other teachers. And we see that really critical as keeping the knowledge of these experienced teachers in the school ecosystem. So we have a few of the people who sell in our system who have like 25, 30 years of experience, and they, for health reasons, chose to leave teaching in person and move to being a curriculum maker full-time during the pandemic. And by being on our platform, we keep their knowledge in the system, and it can help those new teachers who are going to be entering teaching to help keep kids learning.
Yeah, get right off on the right foot, and you get to monetize your experience. Last question. If you're a purchasing agent out there for one of the school districts or for a school district in the United States, and you're looking at different platforms, you already mentioned privacy, but how do you differentiate? Say you've got proposals out for online learning tools like Boom. Look, I used to write and review RFPs in the financial services industry. That is like comparing apples and oranges a lot of times. I can imagine comparing systems or tools difficult as well.
It is. And some of it is just nitty gritty stuff. It's, have they been vetted for privacy? We're an IMS Global Trusted Ed app. Do they answer your security questions when you send it? That's another key element. Do they have evidence that they're based on research about learning? We have Digital Promise has reviewed our design model, and we're certified as having our design based in education research. Are they engaging with students? Is there research studying them? We have another number of studies where people have actually used our product in their study to evaluate learning. So you look for evidence. You look for signifiers of safety. And last but not least, cyber liability insurance.
Oh, yes, cyber. And by the way, I think that's going through the roof right now because there's
I just paid our bill.
Yeah, there's a lot of hacks and ransomware attacks, et cetera. Well, Mary, we're going to have to leave it there. Great conversation, great topic. We appreciate you coming on the network, and we look forward to having you back on the program again very soon.
Oh, thank you very much. I've had a great time.
That wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to, drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the latest security news and lifestyle, wellness, finance, tech, so much more in all in one place, check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. Want to search our archives, check out our latest content, we'll visit our website and our streaming partners. We're back again for BRN Weekly tomorrow. We'll be taking a look back at some of our best segments for the week. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.
But if you're tired of the same old...
Now is your opportunity to co-create content around any topic on the first lifestyle and wellness network. Reach a global audience through our platform and co-own exclusive branded content. All of our programs are available on demand and also as audio-only podcasts, so you can take us on the go. Broadcast Retirement Network, available anytime, anywhere, and on any device.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
Call 800-224-6439.